Her words were almost casual, tossed across the kitchen like a knife meant to miss. "I don't want your last name anymore," she said, smiling as if she'd just confessed a secret crush. "My new lover says you're a loser. He says I should take a real man's name." The coffee in my hand trembled slightly, though I didn't let it spill. I watched her beam with a glow I hadn't seen in years, except it wasn't for me. It was for him, whoever he was. My silence made her braver. "You're not angry?" She tilted her head, teasing. "Not going to beg me to stay?" I reached into my pocket and pulled out a pen. Not the reaction she expected. "Fine," I said. "Sign here." I slid the folded paper across the counter. A waiver. A document I had written weeks ago, when the first whispers of her betrayal brushed against my ears. She laughed, confused but eager to make her insult official. She signed without hesitation, her scrawl messy with adrenaline. 7 days later, the estate lawyer called her. His voice cracked through the phone. "Ma'am, do you realize what you just let him sign away?" The night she confessed, I didn't shout. I didn't plead. I simply stared at the woman who once swore eternity to me. Her lips moved, pouring out poison disguised as liberation. Words about freedom, about real men, about how I never lived up to her imagined future. I barely heard her. My eyes traced the hollow behind her joy. It wasn't happiness, it was arrogance, brittle and cheap. Inside, a storm raged, but outside, I remained still. I remembered her late nights, the sudden need for new clothes, the phone turned face down at dinner. Little details. They had all been clues, but I dismissed them as paranoia. Now they screamed the truth. I thought of the house, the estate, the name on every deed, contract, and trust. Mine. She thought marriage was a chain. I knew it was a fortress. And now she had just given me the keys to lock her out forever. I became an observer. She giggled on her phone late at night. She vanished for yoga retreats and returned with a perfume I had never smelled before. She thought I was blind, but I was cataloging everything. Her lover's name slipped once in a text she carelessly left open on the counter. Daniel. A name with no weight, no legacy, no estate carved through blood and contracts. A man who thought stealing another's wife proved his strength. I said nothing. I cooked her dinner. I kissed her forehead when she left. I let her believe I was fading, irrelevant. Meanwhile, I met with the lawyers. I moved documents, revised trusts, restructured assets. On paper, I was merely updating our holdings. In reality, I was pulling strings no one could see until they tightened around her throat. I drafted one page. Simple, deceptively simple. A clause that shifted her claim to nothing. It looked like a casual consent form, a signature line at the bottom. All I needed was her pride. And pride I had in abundance. The lawyer called her 1 week after she signed. I wasn't in the room, but I could imagine it. The way her smug confidence cracked as he explained. "Mrs. Harlan," he said, voice unsteady, "that paper, it wasn't a release for your name. You signed away your claim. To the house, to the accounts, to the estate. Everything tied to his name is now his alone. You have nothing, absolutely nothing." I pictured her hands trembling, searching the air for an anchor that wasn't there. She stormed into the study hours later, eyes wild, papers clutched in her fist. "You tricked me!" she screamed. I looked up from my desk, calm as ice. "No," I said, "you betrayed yourself. I just let you put it in writing." Her knees buckled. I watched her collapse into the chair opposite me. For the first time in years, she was silent. She tried to recover, her voice shrinking. "We can fix this, can't we? I didn't mean." I leaned forward, folding my hands. "You meant every word. You called me a loser. You said I wasn't a real man. But look at you now. Whose name keeps you breathing? Whose estate put a roof over your head? Whose pen just erased you? Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't of sorrow. They were of panic. You think he'll take you in? I asked quietly. Daniel? He wanted the thrill, not the burden. You'll learn that soon enough. She flinched as if I had struck her, but my voice never rose. I slid a single paper across the desk. This is the address of the apartment lease I transferred into your name. 1 year paid in advance. After that, you're on your own. Her mouth opened to protest, but I cut her off with silence. Just silence. It was heavier than any insult. She realized then she was no longer my wife. She was no one. The night she left, the house was quieter than it had ever been. Her absence wasn't grief, it was relief. I walked through the corridors, my footsteps echoing on marble floors that belonged to me alone now. Every frame, every deed, every contract whispered the same truth. Legacy is built by discipline, not desire. She thought betrayal gave her power, but betrayal only sharpened mine. As I sat in my study, pen in hand, I realized something final. A name is not just letters. It is a weight, a shield, a weapon. She had thrown it away with a laugh. I had reclaimed it with silence. And when her lover abandons her, as he will, she will remember the night she mocked my name, the night she signed away her future, the night I said nothing. Silence, I learned, is the loudest revenge.